fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy. We are proudly sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. We're also proudly sponsored by VMB Auto Centres. Thank you to them for their support of this channel. But look at this. Where are we? Where are we? We're in Ramble HQ. We've made it. So, first stream from the new digs. First thing I'm going to do, and I don't normally do this, I normally start rambling first off. Can you hear me all right? Because I'm a little bit nervous about this, making sure that everything's set up. I've worked hard. I've talked to the Ramblers about, I've been talking about Platinum Ramblers in the chat, and we've done a couple of test goes. Let me know. Let me know. Can you hear me? Looks great. Thank you, Lorcan. I'm just waiting on some confirmation that you can see me all right. You can hear me all right. There's no lag in the stream. Fabulous, says Dempsey. All good, looks great. Right, brilliant. I love it. Looks like we've got ourselves a new destination. Looks like looking professional, says Oliver. Thanks, mate. Thanks. That's blagging at its finest, which will probably come out in the stream anyway. So, Mrs. Ramble's got her kitchen table back. She's a very happy lady. It's not quite as I want it yet. I can still hear a bit of an echo in here, which I'm going to be working on. I need to get more secure internet in here. It's not really finished, but I'm too impatient. I had to get in, and I love it. The sort of aesthetics that you can see on screen is exactly what I wanted. The rest of the studio is it's probably about 98% done, and I won't be happy till it's done, but we're closer than we've ever been. So a massive thank you to everybody that's helped me on this journey so far. And while I'm talking about that, how far have we come? Let me just see if I can find it here. Oh, that's not it. Sorry, John. Have a watch of this. This is where we started.
What's happening, Blades? So, I've been threatening to do this for ages, and it's here now. So, I hope you like it. It's a new Blades channel where we're going to focus on all things Blades.
Get it off. Get it off. It's so bad, isn't it? It's so... I mean, not only am I stuttering and stumbling, that hasn't changed, but the sound is awful. The picture is terrible. I remember Ingood Nick texting me afterwards and saying, great first stream, mate. You were obviously appeasing me. Just flip your phone to landscape rather than portrait. But I weren't to know. And on our Jimmy Ramble channel, which we're going live at 9 o'clock, for some England content with the boys that did the Wilder debate with me. On our Jimmy Ramble channel there will be, I've got a video out that sort of says, why aren't you starting it? It's really easy to get started on YouTube. And look, if I can do it, trust me, anybody can do it. So we're not here to talk about that, but allow me just 2 seconds to bask in what we've worked hard for. And it's been a collective effort. And thank you to everybody that's helped me along the way. Now, the takeover is on everybody's lips. Before we get to that, John Egan. There's some news come out today about John Egan, which I believe to be accurate, is that Sheffield United have not yet offered him a contract or not entered into discussions over a new contract with John Egan. Certainly not serious discussions at any level, because he's yet to recover from his injury. And the reports today are saying he's due back around mid-July and we'll make an assessment then. He's 31 years old, John Egan. Started last season quite poorly before getting injured and going out for the season. I'm still a strong believer that a fit John Egan is a really strong asset at championship level. But you let me know whether you agree with that or not, because that's again subjective. That's just one person's opinion. It won't be on peanuts. What I think we've been quite clever as a club here, if I'm honest, because I'm of the belief, or I'm certainly of the information that I thought we had an option to extend John Egan's contract by a year. So maybe that's why we're being so calm about the whole situation. Obviously, there's already an awful lot of work to do. We've already talked a little bit and scratched the surface of our squad rebuild, which will be coming, but obviously there's still these updates to come, isn't there? So let me know what you think about John Egan. Do we need to retain him? Do you think the club's being smart? Or do you think it's being, if we haven't got a 1-year option, which I can't guarantee because I've not seen his contract, but if we haven't got a 1-year option, are we daft by not securing him, one of the assets that we could? Or is it smart because we never know how he's going to recover from a long-term injury? We don't know if he's now going to become a little bit injury prone with a bit of wear and tear. George Baldock, unfortunately, went down similar lines in terms of couldn't quite shake the injuries once they caught up to him. So let me know what you think in the comments, and I'm interested to hear your point on that. The second thing I wanted to talk about very quickly, there's been some chatter in our Ramble chat today about Max Lowe potentially going to the other side of the city. Danny Hall, I think, reported it first in the Star. This does not bother me one jot, to be honest. And I don't know why. Like in our chat, there's been some people that's it. He's dead to me if he goes there. And, you know, he's disloyal, and it's fine to have that opinion. But I'm interested to hear what other people think, because for me, we released him. We chose not to retain him. We had an option. We could have just extended him by a year if we wanted to keep him around. But we've chosen to get rid of him. So we can't then complain if the lad goes off and gets himself a contract at whichever club, whether it be Wendy's, whether it be Leeds, whether it be Man City, whether it be Grimsby Town. You can't begrudge the lad because we've said to him, we don't want you. And I'm not saying he definitely wanted to stay. I don't think, there was somebody mentioned in the comments that he wanted to stay at Forest when Forest went up and he was on loan with them. It didn't work out, but I think that's unfair to a degree. I just think he's been very unlucky with injuries, a lot like a lot of our squad, unfortunately, this season. So what's your thoughts again on Max Lowe potentially going to Wendy's? Advanced talks is what's been reported. And today, it started yesterday. In terms of the takeover, I've seen little bits of chatter online about nobody knows anything, and I believe some people will know little bits because you can't keep everything so in-house. But I am quite pleased that it's not been widely talked about. We've done this before where loose lips sink ships a little bit, and Dozy Mabuse, and as soon as I found out and I were able to report on what I thought was going on at the time, we were able to talk about it openly, and then everybody weighs in with their opinion. Nobody still knows who these investors are, these American investors are. It's a consortium. It's been circulated online, people putting emojis up of eyes and alarm bells and, American flags and stuff like that. And look, I do stuff like that when I've got some information I want to share and get attention for the Ramble. But from my information that I'm getting, and I think Darren Smith corroborated this as well, which is why I'm comfortable sharing it. Let me see if I've got it here. So somebody asked what were happening with the takeover. Let's have a little look because I'm sure I got it up. There we go. So it was a tweet from Darren. If a deal between the buyer and Prince Abdullah can be finalised and the EFL approval received, then I would have thought an announcement would be made. Several weeks away from that yet. Several weeks away from that yet. As in it being completed and finalised. Several weeks. Somebody that obviously been asking about Chris Wilder's future. What news about Chris Wilder are you expecting? His position's unchanged. Any new signings will be made when we make them. Nice, Darren. Nice. So with the potential new investment, which is what we were debating last night, they all roll into one at the minute. What we were debating, I think it was last night, certainly the night before, if not, whether Chris Wilder keeps his job or should keep his job if we get taken over, or even if we don't get taken over. There's a lot of speculation. Alan Nixon's fueled this fire by saying there's two regimes at Sheffield United at the minute, and while not a lot of us know what really is going on, there does seem to be some weight behind that in terms of there's Prince Abdullah and Chris Wilder working on plan A, if you like, on targets that we want and targets that Wilder and his team have identified See, it's me knocking stuff over already. I haven't got used to my new surroundings yet. And then there's plan B, which is Des, I want to call him Des Kelly. It's Des Taylor, isn't it? Des Taylor, who is the man in the thumbnail for those asking. That's not me revealing an identity. I think that's been widely circulated who that is, who's been working with the consortium, and they've got a list as well. So there are some players that we may come together on, and both regimes, if you like, will sanction the signing of certain top players, if you like, in terms of our range. So there will be, it's not like there's going to be no activity until the takeover is resolved. But like Darren's saying here, I don't think you can see that bottom bit because of the banner. Let's see if I can get the banner off. And it was Johnsy that's been asking the questions. Seen a few bits flying around that Wilder's off and Scott Parker's coming in. What are the chances of this takeover happening? Is it 50-50? And Darren, quite interestingly for some of you, I'm sure, has said that no, it looks likely to go ahead now. So there you go. And obviously, we all know, for those of you that don't know, Darren is very closely connected to Prince Abdullah, often answering a lot of fans' questions on social media. I speak to him fairly regularly as well. And yeah, that's the current information as to where we are. Several weeks away. It's looking likely that there's going to be a takeover, but we're several weeks away from anything being finalised. So anything that you may or may not have seen on social media or in other outlets that it's absolutely imminent, then it's not. From all those close to the club, it's not imminent. Now, these things can change quickly. These things can be extended out longer. The fan base, me included to a degree, and I have to check myself sometimes in terms of getting caught up in the hyperbole of it all, in terms of, look, I need to calm down here because it's all right. No other clubs really are making moves yet. So why am I starting to get so antsy about it? And why am I getting so, frustrated that we're not doing anything? I think a lot of the fan base is getting frustrated, but we just want a bit of clarity. So it may well still be as clear as mud to a lot of you. There's no big reveal from anybody in terms of who these investors are currently. And I think, again, that's probably for the best because people start doing the digging and they find, oh, well, his ex-wife's cousin's dog's cat said, is this or is that? So I think I'm pleased. There was a story that came out that said somebody's blind fitter, somebody were fitting blinds at Stephen Bettis's house, and Stephen Bettis has given them full rundown on what's happening and that Wilder's staying and he's got 60 million to spend. It's silly season anyway in terms of what players are coming in. And now that we know that there's something going on and people are desperate for information, then there'll be a lot of false narrative flying around. And look, that might be true for all I know. I don't know whether Steve Bettis, speaks regularly to his blind fitter or not, but I would hazard a guess that sensitive information like that wouldn't be willingly exposed so easily. But stranger things have happened. So what are your thoughts on it? What are your concerns? I'll answer anything that I know about that I'm able to reveal. I don't know an awful lot more. I don't know anything more than I've told you, really, in all honesty. So Will starts us off tonight with a ramble on. Thank you. Ramble on, mate. Ramble on. We just need to get this takeover done with, says Danny, which harkens to my point in terms of we need it done. It needs to happen now. This waiting game is going to cost us a head start in recruitment. It's got to be nearly done now, Jimmy. ring the prince and tell him to pull his finger out. Yeah, all right. Okay, that's going to happen. Who's the leader in the takeover bid, Jimmy, and what are they valued at? Don't know, mate. Honestly, do not know. Last thing we need now is another pauper like the prince, harsh, or a company coming in and loaning money against what the club owns, like Burnley have done. The only thing I would sort of say to that, Danny, is I agree in some ways of just be careful what you wish for, because I think a lot of people, we've never had an owner that has been universally liked, and I don't think you ever will get to that stage where, there is an owner of that ilk. But I don't think, and I am biased because I have met Prince Abdullah and I've spoken to him on several occasions, and I like him as a person. So maybe that does give me some bias towards him. But I don't think he's done much wrong as an owner of our football club. It'd have been great if he could have spent a lot more money. It'd have been great if he could have spent a little bit more money. You know, there'll be decisions along the way that I've not been happy with or not agreed with, whatever it might be. It's not to do with me, for one, in terms of it's just an opinion of a fan. But also, we don't know what's coming in, do we? Just because we hear that there's a sniff of a little bit of more money coming in doesn't mean it's the best thing for the football club. So I am slightly nervous. Billy in our chats regularly talking to me about what's your thoughts are. I know Kyle were asking me the other day, and I've got to reserve judgment, to be honest. When you hear things like they might want to make a change of manager, and that's a might, that's not a definite, that's all well and good if there is a better replacement to come in. I don't know. To a silly degree, you could compare it to the Man United situation with Ten Hag. The new owners don't deem Ten Hag to be good enough. But who's better out there at the minute that will come to Man U, that will, you know, that wants to work on that project? They've obviously talked to several names and they've not been interested. So who's better than Chris Wilder to come in and do the job that will make a significant difference to how things are at the moment? I'm not sure there is a significant upgrade at the moment. And again, I'm a big Wilder fanboy, but you've got to think logically about it, personally. Typical United, any other club would name the potential new owner like Chelsea did, or we're going to end up with a new Poundland owner. This is it. This is the thing, isn't it, that we've got to try and steer away from, is that just no news is terrible news. And it's not necessarily, is it? It's not. But people do jump to conclusions as and when things happen or don't happen. Do you think we should get Ben Brereton Diaz? And do you think we will? Up the Blades, up the Ramble, says Blades all the way. I would love for us to get Ben Brereton Diaz. I don't think we've got any chance of getting Ben Brereton Diaz. If he's available for £6 million, like is being rumoured, which is a big if, by the way, because they could get a lot more money for him. A Premier League club. Why aren't Ipswich just giving him £6 million now? Which they could quite easily. You know, Leicester, for example, who are cash strapped, could swap one of their, could sell Dewsbury or get Brereton Diaz in, who's proven himself that can at least hang at Premier League level. I'm not saying he's going to excel for anybody, but he's proven, I think, there is a Premier League player. So, no, I don't think we'll get him, pal. If it's right, it's £6 million, then we should. Yes, I agree. We're not going to. We won't. Evening, Jimmy says, Tom, regarding the takeover, Everton, Chelsea, Man U, news every day. United, well, we've never been in the same bracket as them, have we, really, to be fair? United negotiations must be being done by the KGB. Total silence. Diaz priced at £6 million, so he'll be gone. Come on, Prince Abdullah, make a statement. And say what? And say what, though? And I've got no dog in the fight. I want what's best for Sheffield United. But what's Prince Abdullah going to come out and say now? Yes, we are being taken over. Or yes, we're in the process of selling the club. And you could say to this person or this consortium. And then, you know, it gets fans' hopes up potentially if it's going to be a good move. And then what if it falls through? What kind of impact does that have on Prince Abdullah then? People think, oh no, we're stuck with Prince Abdullah. You know, what if it turns out that the potential buyers might be bad news, like this 777 group that went in at Everton? Well, then what are you doing? You don't care about the future of the club. I don't see many win-win scenarios for him, if I'm honest. I have to just call it as I see it. Good evening, Jimmy, says James. Love the content. Thank you, pal. Hope this is not all just smoke and daggers to avoid transfer cash up the Blaze. No, I know I can confirm, as Darren has several other much more credible outlets than me personally have confirmed that it is a legit takeover that is in serious negotiations at the minute. And we're weeks away from completion from what is being said. We need this takeover, says Josh, to happen if it's not looking promising for the next season. If it's not looking promising for next season. Also, have you heard about Max Lowe going to them lot? Yes, I have, mate. Yes, I have. Evening, Jim, says Chris. Been hearing Villa have got to sell quite a few players to comply with FFP. Is there any chance they can make Archer stay with us? No, mate, they've got to buy him back. They've got to buy him back. It's part of the written agreement. I know what you're saying. Can we alter that deal? I don't believe we can. I don't believe we can. Or can we sell him to a Prem club? No, he's got to go to Villa. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, please like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. Deja vu, Jimmy. Deja vu. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Don't worry, Action Location. It is not another famous last words, this, but not another Henry Maurice, Dozy Mabuzi false dawn. Like Darren said, I think this has got legs, and I think this could be completed in the next few weeks. You heard that wrong. Anyway, watching Between the Cricket. Nice. Thanks, pal. Steve Holmes, one of our elite ramblers. I just hope the takeover goes through smoothly and nobody ends up in jail. Have we got permission from the prince to do this? No. I'm sure if I ever said anything out of turn, then I'd know about it. But I've never been told to say or not to say anything, and that is the truth. So I just make my own assessment on some bits that I get in terms of what is fair and right, and I try and share as much as I can without ever damaging the club. Dino, good evening, pal. I'm hoping you have some news for us, Jimmy lad, as our kid's wetting his that much. He's texted me this morning from a building site in Manchester, causing me to bang me nut in Rotherham. Well, I hope you're all right, pal. And I'm sorry that the news that I have given you isn't sort of a speedy update in terms of this is what will be happening tomorrow, because I just wanted to calm people down a little bit to a degree in terms of that this can be an update, but it's just telling you that we're still a few weeks away. Evening, Jim, says Scott. Like any Blade, people just want transparency, and with it being quiet and 2 previous failed attempts, you get the twitching. I do, mate. I don't understand it. Whether it's a yes or no, the rebuild needs to be top priority. Up the Blades and up the Ramble. Top man, Scott. Thank you, pal. I'd really push for Brereton Diaz at 6 mil, says Danny. We get some back if Ramsdale or Calvert-Lewin sold with sell-ons, and Anel and Sousa and Traore going as well. We need goals next season. He can score them. No brainer. Yeah. Thing is, Danny, all that would have to happen before we'd have the cash to do it, as far as I know. And again, there's so many variables because we don't know if there's going to be buyers for Anel or Sousa, who we know will consider offers for. Calvert-Lewin is never nailed on. He's rumoured every summer, but he's never nailed on to go. But we will get a sell-on for Calvert-Lewin. It's looking like Ramsdale's going to go for less than we sold him for. So we won't make any money on that. Traore will get back what we paid. So the instalments that we haven't yet paid will just not be paid. We'll have that minimum amount that we've already paid out returned to us. So there's not much flush cash flow in that regard. If you get the sales at the amount that you want, then you'll have a pot. We've got a little bit already. I'm just talking about balancing the books overall. 6 million, though, to slap down on one player is a lot. Having said that, another thing in the mixer is if we get new owners and if they are cash rich or wanting to at least have a little bit of a go, and Brereton Diaz is willing to drop down to the Championship, then it's a maybe, isn't it? I'd probably say 20% likely, maybe less. Lowe's going to Pigs, says Chris. Yeah, good luck to him. Good luck to him. Have the Yanks bought or what? Not seen anything online, says Gaza. Bladesmen says the same. Evening, pal. Stevie boy, new owners come in and give the manager an expected budget, but they offer you a one-time 50 million transfer that doesn't count towards FFP. And they will come, but only for one season. Who are you picking? New owners come in and give the manager an expected budget. So in terms of that, it's flat as it is now currently. But they offer you a one-time 50 million transfer. You mean instead that doesn't count towards FFP, and they will come, but only for one season. Who are you picking? Oh, so who's me 50 million pound player that I want United to have? Illiman and Dye. Illiman and Dye gets us out of this league. No danger. He's done it before, and he is a 50 million pound player. I know he went for 20-ish. With all them sell-ons and clauses, and he hasn't massively pulled up trees at Marseille. But give me Illiman back, any day of the week. Hi, Jimmy. Little too quiet for me. Not hearing anything can only be frustrating for the fans, but time will start to go very quickly. So, TO and transfers need sorting. Or takeover and transfers need announcing. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, Blade for life. We are in the eye of the storm, says Steve. Muscles Marsden, who you can see on the Jimmy Ramble channel tonight. We'll be there, won't we, pal, talking about England. Same four that we're debating wild the other night. We're going to be having a little chat about England over there and getting ready for the Euros. Might you've asked me that once before. Evening, Davey boy. I think we're in the calm before the storm, Steve. Getting ready for it to go bonkers in the next few weeks. Whatever happens, Euros to enjoy till then. Come and join us on the Jimmy Ramble channel. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Come on, England. Well done, son. Could I get an update from the Prince? Potentially, but it may well. Yeah, I can try. But it's not necessarily always, newsworthy. If I'm honest, no change or, no big movement or stays. Never. If the Prince wants me to have an update, he'll give me an update. That's probably the best way to say it. The Prince wouldn't say, "Oh, if you asked anyway." All right, okay. Okay. That's fair enough. That's your opinion, Zach. Come on, Jimmy lad. You must know something. Craig, I will share what I'm able to, mate, and I don't know anything other than what I've told you tonight, and that is the God's truth. So this is when I've got to the point where everybody's telling me how the sound works, which is absolutely bang on. Look at Scott. Scott, look at you, all professional. I know, mate. No one loves it. Thank you, pal. Welcome to beautiful downtown Blades Ramble. Absolutely right. Beautiful downtown Ramble Lane. There's some things we just don't need to know, and that's one of them. So, yeah. Thanks, Daz. Cheers, pal. Hope that plant's real, Jimmy. Sorry, Steve McDonald, it's not. Listen, I want it to be a long term. I want to be a long term. So behave yourself, Rich. Behave yourself. But yeah, if they're hiring, no, I'm kidding. Oh, dear me. Oh, we can get someone who loves the Blades like Prince Abdullah. Sadly, I don't think it will happen. Trey Posh, says Wayne. Improvement on the channel is great to see, Jimmy. You deserve it, pal. Up the Blades. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it, mate. PA's coming on to announce the takeover with Jimmy live. Up the Blades. Prince Abdullah, if you're watching, there's an open invite to the Ramble. And if you want to come on and announce the takeover live on the Ramble, you are always welcome. Outstanding. Bet Mrs. Ramble will be pleased, says Ray. She's got a kitchen back. Where's the bar, Jimmy? Up the Blades, up the Ramble. It's going to be under construction and it'll be over there. Hopefully. I've got a mini fridge down here, which Andy the Blades given us, and it's stocked up. So we're ready for the watch-alongs. We're going to be doing some England watch-alongs. I don't know if Andy the Blade will be with me for that because he's never in the country, but he's certainly going to be doing the away games with me next season. Let's be honest, it's going to be another group of chances. Not like the Prince. It's not like the Prince has got the best track record of choosing who he wants to sell the club to. There is absolutely no comeback to that happy chappy. There is no getting around it. I don't care how favourable, what I think of Prince Abdullah in terms of how he is. The two previous potential owners has been a nightmare scenario when we've been able to get all the information that we wanted. So, yeah, let's just hope it's third time lucky. Like and subscribe, everybody, says Renegade. Thank you, pal. Very much appreciated. Zach, you've just said Prince Abdullah won't tell me anything anyway, you said. So I don't know anything. And all I've told you is what I know. Is it true, Jimmy, if they come in, FFP doesn't count for the first 2 years? No, I don't believe so, pal. I think a takeover don't buy you special privileges like that. No, I don't believe so, mate. I might be wrong, Matt, but I lost a bit of timber since then, Jimmy. Thank you very much. Yeah, somebody else noticed that. I mean, I I've been on the fitness challenge with some of the Ramblers. Thank you to Steve Marsden, our PT in the bath, that's been helping us out on that. I have lost a little bit, but long way to go. Oh, it's lagging a bit, says Josh. So professional and well-deserved, Jimmy. Thank you, Mr. V. So proud of what you've accomplished. Couldn't have done it without you guys. Very much appreciated, and thank you. Can see your wrinkles a lot better now, Jimmy. I know. I'm not. The lighting is something I need to sort, but you know, it's real life, isn't it? John Egan's a must keep. It don't happen in the next 2 weeks. We could be mid-table next season, says John. It's got to start happening soon, hasn't it? It's got to start happening soon. Platinum Rambler, Rhodesy, looks sublime, Gav. Thank you, pal. Studio looks mint. Thank you. I'm well impressed with this, and I don't mean to self-indulge, and I have skipped over some comments that have talked about the studio, but you know, I'm proud of it. Let Egan go, says David Vinter. Old injury prone, far too slow. Get defenders with pace. Wow. Okay. Matthew says, if Egan's fit, I'd keep, but it'll be a year with the extra option. Sounds great and looks great, says Michael. Good, that's good to hear. Thank you. Young Frankie Maguire left to join Boston United the other day. Yeah, we released him, didn't we? And then he's quickly got himself tied up with another club, which is great. I have high hopes that Mags will go quite far in the game, because I don't often think there's an awful lot of difference between National League and League Two. Well, I think a lot of people aren't on the same page as that. And he'd been playing at National League North with Chorley. I think they're in National League North, and he got loads of like Player of the Month awards. I'm sure he got their Player of the Year or Players Player of the Year. So he shone in the league below the National League, which would let you assume that he'd slot into the National League very nicely. And then there's not much between. Still very young. I think he's got a good future in front of him. Evening, Jimmy. Studio looking fantastic. Thank you, Ian, pal. Congratulations. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Ian, who went to one of the Action Coach events today and gave me fantastic feedback. So I'm pleased you really enjoyed it, pal. Correct decision on John Egan. I've said it before, we can't keep paying wages for players to be sat in the stands. We're not a charity. It sounds brutal, but true. I love John Egan. And with George Baldock moving on, he may well be one of my favourite Blades now. But he will not be, Ray makes a great point, he will not be on pence. He will be on big money. And I know he'll take a drop because we've been relegated. But he will be carrying a huge wage. And it's just whether we're comfortable carrying that sort of player on that money, who's not guaranteed to be fit. Lowe's the more unloyal player. Lol. He makes another player that's gone to Derby, and from Derby to Notts, Blades to Wednesday. He's going where he's being paid, mate. I haven't got a problem with it. Lowe can go where he likes. We have plenty the other way. Absolutely right, says Saint. Not bothered about Lowe, says Bill. As long as we strengthen with 2 or 3 players in his position. Yeah, we need to strengthen, don't we, pal? I'm not bothered about Lowe either. We need John Egan for the dressing room, says Sam. To help the new players get integrated with the club. He can still do a job for us. Max Lowe was a bit part player with no big loss. Can't keep retaining injured players. I agree. I'm dismissing it and saying, oh, well, he's got to get, make a living for his family, blah, blah, blah. Don't get me wrong. If it was a player in our first team that will go into them, that we'd be selling to them because they've bid a high offer or whatever it might be, and they've basically lured somebody away, then I'm not happy about it. But we released Max Lowe. It was released from his contract at Sheffield United. We said, we don't want you. So fair play to the lad for whoever he can get fixed up with. Lowe's not our player, says Rob. We didn't think he was good enough for us anymore, so why care what he does? He'll be injured most of the time anyway. Well, I hope he's not, because you don't want to wish that on anybody, do you? But obviously, I hope we stuff him when we play him if he's wearing blue and white. Good luck to Max Lowe, says David. Just keep him away from the sprinklers. One of the most bizarre injuries I've ever heard in my life. My only gripe with the takeover is that if they sack Chris Wilder, it means weeks of planning will be wasted. Well, not necessarily, Wayne. As I said, from what we understand, there's 2 strands to it. There's Wilder preparing for one type of budget. There's also Wilder talking to the new scout, Des Taylor. I'll get that right at some stage. In terms of planning for the new ownership, because obviously, Wilder's not daft in terms of what's been happening behind the scenes and what could happen if new ownership comes in, but he's still the manager. So they'll be working on 2 lists, I think, essentially. I don't think we'll have lost much time, but things need to start actually happening rather than be planned. Looks amazing, Jimmy. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it, pal. Don't think Lowe is disloyal for getting himself a deal, just as long as he gets a hostile reaction when he returns. Yeah, he will. He will, mate. Don't worry about that. Egan, for me, has never been a dominant centre-half, and if Lowe goes to S6, that would be brilliant. It makes them weaker. He's rubbish. Wow. Lowe loves a rival, play for Derby, Notts, Blades and Pigs. Name another player that's done that. There will be. There will be. Not necessarily those 2, but Aunt Steve Bruce managed Sunderland, Newcastle, us, Wendy's. There's loads that have jumped about between rivals. Alex, what's his name? McLeish, Villa, Birmingham. There's loads. Danny Wilson. The right people who are buying clubs don't make noise, unlike Dozy, who made a lot of noise and came to nothing. Bought me a couple of drinks. I don't mind, Dozy. Hoping it's not Rishi Sunak. Stephen, he's been offered a job in Silicon Valley if he isn't re-elected. Wow. It's not Rishi Sunak, mate. Don't worry. Tim, one of our elite ramblers. Are there any clubs who you would say have the sort of owners we might hope for, i.e. what does the ideal owner look like? I would say the best we can hope for, and it's not going to happen because this man's a fan of the club, it would be a Tony Bloom at Brighton, and their model, because it's data-driven and that's his business and he's got the money to invest as a local fan, but that's obviously not what we're looking at, really, is it? It'd be ideal, though. Looks excellent, Jimmy. Well done. Thank you, pal. On Darren, he's a top bloke, but always take him with a pinch. He likes to hide as much as possible. Completely disagree, Scott. Completely disagree. I think he's just my opinion, but I think Darren's very open when questioned on stuff. He'll tell you when he can't say. He doesn't, sort of dangle a carrot and not deliver. I think he tries to be as honest as he can with people. He's got his own opinions as well. What he says is not the club's opinion. People have to sort of separate that. He does get to know certain things and he'll share what he can. And I try and do similar, really, just via a different medium. So, no, I don't think Darren goes hiding. I think he had to go hiding in terms of Twitter because he got a lot of abuse at certain stages, which is ridiculous. So he's had to deactivate his main account, and he's back online now with a different account. But I think that's harsh, Scott. Can't wait several weeks and allow Wilder to make signings. If the new owner wants a new manager, it makes no sense. But what do you do, Matthew? What do you back Wilder? If you're the new owners and you do want a change, then you're not going to sanction any signings that Wilder makes if you believe that you're going to bring your own man in. And if you're Prince Abdullah, you don't want to scupper the takeover by confirming any signings that Wilder brings if their new man wants to wants other signings in. That by the same token, I've got to make sure I'm on the right lines with myself here, but if what's happening on the other side of the coin, it's not, I don't want people to think that it's all set up that Wilder's definitely going to get sacked. But the other way of thinking of it is, if the new ownership want to make higher level signings than Prince Abdullah's able to make at the moment, so that might be the 2 lists. We might have a sensible list, if you like, that Wilder and the Prince would have had in normal circumstances. And we might have a more optimistic list with the new ownership. Well, Prince Abdullah doesn't necessarily want to sign off on the new players either, because he's on record as saying he's not in a position to fork out any more money and commit to overspending. If the takeover falls through, he's footing that bill. So that's the dilemma he's got. Do the new owners buy cheap, if you like? And I don't mean that in a negative way, but do they buy in a less ambitious way, but sensible in terms of structure and build? And Wilder might not be in their thoughts. but Wilder might be in their thoughts, and they've just got a higher level of target in mind. So I think really tricky job for Chris Wilder at the moment, even working to two different scenarios. It's really difficult, Matt, and I understand you're right. That's the sort of catch-22 that we're in at the minute. New owners should not start with Wilder's men, says Brian. They might not. They might not. It just seems a little bit odd that he's been able to bring in his own team, certainly in the scouting department. I know that they've been looking at revamping the medical department as well. If there was a takeover ongoing in the background, because that if it was a possibility that we could have been taken over, there's always then the possibility of a new manager, and you wouldn't completely revamp the backroom staff if any sort of change of manager was pending, in my opinion. Looking good, Jimmy Ladd, says Jamie. The new studio isn't bad, too bad. Oh, you old charmer. Thanks, pal. Nixon knows note, says Mr. Vancouver. Wilder bigged up the summer as the biggest, been making moves for months, and yet still say here and nothing. If takeover doesn't affect transfers, why is no one even walked in? Mate, it does affect transfers. It does. It's not affecting plans for transfers, but it's certainly affecting them in terms, I think we're as ready as we can be. I think we're ready to push the button on a few. Jamie says, what's the rumours about Oxlade-Chamberlain? Just that, mate. Rumours. Very injury prone. Clearly a very good player in there. But a punt, an expensive punt, I won't be against it, by the way. Adjust the camera angle to put your face slightly higher in the frame. Or zoom in slightly. Keep the award and logo in shot. Thank you, Trev. Let me just see if me just altering my seat there does. I think you're probably right there, mate, now that I'm putting comments on. Thank you for that. Always up for a bit of feedback. Can we get rid of Brewster? We can if somebody wants to buy him, but he's got a year left on his contract. Jimmy, I can tell you now, 1,000% if Scott Parker gets anywhere near our club, says Tom, that's me done till he's out. He's not the most inspiring of names, is he? He's not the most inspiring of names. I have heard his name mentioned in and around the rumours and things that are ongoing, but I can't see how you can. Scott Parker is the same man that came out on Match of the Day after he'd been stuffed as Bournemouth manager. I think it was Bournemouth manager, and said, "These lot aren't good enough. They're not going to survive. What am I supposed to do with this team?" They sacked him, and then that same team stayed up. Absolutely ridiculous. Scott says, we can't let another contract run down. I'd agree, though. A fit Egan is a decent asset for the championship. I'm sure our rumours just get repeated. Tom Lawrence on the list again, apparently. Yeah, there is a bit of recycled stuff going in with some names mentioned in there, I think. Tom Lawrence. And thing is, we sometimes do have longer-term targets. We were linked with Ryan Kent for a couple of windows. And, there's always... Joe Worrell's back on the list, isn't he, apparently? But some of it is lazy reporting, I believe. Tom Lawrence is another one, a lot of money. His wages will be massive and never really fit. Al says, Lowe is just going to make the pigs weaker. And all the Prince has done is just enough to make the Blades viable, to make as much money for himself as possible. Simple. If that was the case, Al, and I'm not saying it's not, because that would be smart business. What do we expect from these new owners? Do we think they're going to come in for the love of it? Or do we think they're going to come in to turn a profit? And I think we have to be honest with ourselves. It's a business for them. They're not fans like us. And, like Tim was saying, the ideal owner is a fan, really. But because you sort of frivolously throw money at it. But that's not always the answer, is it? So... David's not happy with the several weeks update. I'm sorry, pal. I'm sorry. Chris says, has Mr. Mountain got his own channel? No, he's not, mate, but he's a fantastic contributor to our channel. And he'll be joining me again, as I said, on the Jimmy Ramble channel tonight at 9 o'clock. I think he's playing football at the minute. Started back playing footy again. Evening, Jimmy. Several weeks seems a bit too long for me. But if it's going to be the right people coming in, it's worth the wait up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thanks, Bill. I think that's probably worst case scenario, sort of a sensible estimate. But certainly not. Everybody would like well, you know, Bill, in chat yesterday, oh, it's happening. We're going to get an announcement at 6 o'clock because, you know, Betis's blind man's told his cousin that we're going to be taking over tomorrow. Were it Michael Winner? Calm down, dear. Calm down. No way has Stephen Bettis shared any info with anybody, says Dino. He'd be mental. He's likely to be off, not likely to risk any payoff. Yeah, I suppose with maybe Bettis. Well, Bettis has survived 1 year under McCabe. 1 year initially under McCabe. I don't know, to be honest. I'd have to think about that, but I have to do a bit of digging. But yeah, Bettis might be up for, you know, what's his future going to be. Haven't Lazard's vetted and approved new ownership? Lazard's, I don't know, John. I don't know how these new investors have come on board, but Lazard's were obviously part of the trying to sell United process. Whether that's what's reignited this interest, I'm not sure. If it's 7 weeks plus for the takeover and they're legit, they should put some money in to get some transfers moving due to how big a rebuild is needed. I absolutely agree with that, Neil. I absolutely agree. And then we can, if it does fall through at the last minute, we're going to have to sell somebody to repay them out with. But I think we have to start moving now. We have to start moving. And again, that's me getting caught up in the we need to. But in the next couple of weeks or so, I think we need to start seeing a little bit of activity, personally. If Egan's injury is taking this long, and with the way he played before said injury, I would be very leery about signing him or taking the extra year. Yeah, I think we're proceeding with caution, aren't we, Mr. V? My money needs on some news around the 23rd. Darren said end of the month, a week or so ago, and I usually find him on the conservative side with estimates. Admittedly, I'm probably being too optimistic. Not wrong with it though, Bill, is there? None of us know, so it's, you know, it's fun to speculate. Zach says Steve Cooper as a shout. I don't mind that as a shout, but is he going to be a massive uplift on Chris Wilder? We had a big debate yesterday. I'm pretty sure it was yesterday on the channel, and I think it must. No, it might have been the day before. Whenever we had the debate, and yeah, I'm not sure. Steve Cooper is a massive uplift on Chris Wilder personally, but again, everybody's got their own opinion. Wilder's the right man right now, says Steve. And who would they have in mind? Yeah, exactly. Would be a reputation-killing decision to sack Wilder if it doesn't work out. A reputation-killing decision. Yeah, that's true, actually, Bob. That's true, mate. You know, they sack him and then new manager don't work. It don't look good for him, does it? Good managers are gold, says Steve. Yeah, absolutely. Like our Gold Ramblers pin badge for anybody that wants to join our Platinum group. Can't compare us to Man United as there's a few better. Cooper, Rossinia, Corbran. Okay. Cooper has got promoted out of the Championship once. So has Chris Wilder. Rossinia has not been promoted, I don't believe. Corbran's not been promoted, I don't think. I'm not saying they're not good managers, and I'm not saying I wouldn't be happy if they were appointed if he were to go. I certainly like Corbran. I like them all three of them, to be fair. But I don't think they're a massive uplift on Chris Wilder. And if you can't prove to me, or anybody really, it's not to do with proving to me, but in my head, I think it needs to be a legitimate massive upgrade. And I just don't think there's anybody out there. Otherwise, I think it's low risk sticking with Wilder, particularly for a rebuild. And if you need to do it on the cheap, if you need to stick with the original list and not really sort of throw caution to the wind early doors, then do that. Do that if that's what we need to do. But at the minute, I don't know. I reckon we've been talking to players ready, but window doesn't open until Friday, so let's not panic too much, says Rob. Very sensible approach, my friend. Billy says, great point about caution, Jim. Until we know more who they are, what their aspirations are, what their history is, we should reserve judgment. Could be the best thing ever or the worst. No way of knowing yet. No, I mean, Tuna Man over the other side at City's got a lot of money, hasn't he, apparently. But, you know, they don't see it. Well, we all know what he's been doing, don't we? But he's the extreme example of what you could get. The other thing is, ticket prices have been kept very reasonable for a long, long time. That will probably be one of the first things to be hit So it'll directly hit us as fans. In my opinion, I'm not saying that'll definitely happen. Fan advisory board will know a lot more about that sort of stuff. But as and when the takeover happens, if it's happening, are you in the bathroom tonight? Wow, Steve. Wow, mate. Wow. We're in our new studio. Wilder is the man for me, says on it. If not Wilder's fault, it's not Wilder's. He's had a bag of rubbish to work with. My concern is we're taking the mickey, sorting whatever takeover, and it's holding us back. We need players through the door ASAP. Let's say Prince Abdullah does sell, says DW. How do you reflect on his ownership? You are setting me up for abuse here, DW, because I think he's been a very good owner personally, and I understand the criticism. I think I'm on record repeatedly as saying I think Prince Abdullah's biggest shortcoming is his lack of cash. And if he'd have had more money to throw at it to sustain us in the Premier League, then I think he'd be going down as, in many more people's books, as the best owner we've ever had. But that's just my opinion. Good evening, by the way. You're up against the battle for number 10. Never mind. Never mind. The fact that they're keeping it under wraps, this is happening. Yeah, in terms of the takeover, I agree, Steve. I think it's happening. People calling the Prince Poundland when he's most likely worth 100 times what they all dream of. Yeah, it's levels, isn't it, pal? Levels, I agree. Any news on us selling any players? No, Ant, not at the minute. No incomings or outgoings. No strong indication of that happening soon. But like Rob's just said, window doesn't open till Friday, I think. Yeah, it is Friday at 14. Who's the bloke in the thumbnail? That's Des Kelly, the scout, JB. Evening, Jimmy. Personally, I wouldn't. It's not Des Kelly. It's not. I keep calling him Des Kelly. I called him Dennis Taylor the other week. It's Des Taylor, I believe, the old Bournemouth scout who's part of the consortium, or who's been working alongside the consortium that's looking to take over United. Evening, Jimmy, says Brown. Personally, I wouldn't be against the Prince keeping a small stake in the club. Think of it as a fail-safe, up the blades, up the Ramble. I think it's been widely reported that's what we're looking to do, or what Prince Abdullah's looking to do in terms of staying on, hopefully. I think that's a good move. Certainly a good move for the Ramble. Hiya, Jimmy. Love the setup. Sheffield United way could never. Oh, behave, Lucas. Does Bogle make you start in 11? I think he has to next season, mate. I think he has to. Yeah. I quite like Bogle. I don't think he's a very good defender, but it's harsh to judge him at Premier League level. He's already proven to be a standout Championship talent. So, yeah, now that George Baldock's not here, he's our best right wing back, in my opinion. And I don't think too many will disagree with that, but we are down to bare bones, aren't we? By the way, loving the new Ramble Towers. Is there a bar or a massive TV for the watch? There is a massive TV. We're going to work on the bar, and we've got the beers. It doesn't look big enough for us all. It's not. I've been warned by Mrs. Ramble, to be fair. Mark Robbins or Chris Wilder? Chris Wilder. I do like Mark Robbins, and if Wilder was to go, he'd probably be on my list. But I'm not sacking Chris Wilder to bring Mark Robbins in, who again has never been promoted from this league. And that's not a definite. You have to have been promoted out of this league to be a good manager. He's done a very good job. He's improved Coventry year on year, turned water into wine with some of the players. But that's just, yeah. This time next year we'll be Premiership billionairos. Okay, nice. Love the new studio, Jimmy. Thank you, pal. Do you think it's easier to grant a takeover in the EFL rather than the Premier League, as they're two separate entities? Possibly. I don't know the ins and outs, mate, to be honest. I don't know the ins and outs. We'll soon find out. We will soon find out. That timber he's lost is on the wall behind him. Hey, if the takeover ever happens, would you like the Prince to stay part of the club? Yes. Or have them fully buy him out? Personally, I would love him to stay. I would love to know other people's thoughts. Get them in the comments. Jimmy, show the rest of the studio. I can't, Terry. Honestly, it's not ready to be shown, but I will be working on that. We're going to do a proper opening, like a formal, not formal, but we'll do a video showing you around properly. But I've got something in mind for that. Hi, Jimmy. We need a clock. So you can see the countdown. Okay. Oh, at the start. Okay, sorry, mate. Let me know. I couldn't make out what you were saying, really, Si, to be honest. Evening, Jimmy. The rumour squad are out, big style. I can't blame Lowe going to the other side of the city. Good luck to him. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. Top man. If the takeover does not happen, where do we finish in the league next season? Top six. Top six. I think Wilder's good enough. I don't know. Thing is, it's such a shame this, particularly if he does go, and I'm not convinced he does, but he hasn't been given the opportunity to turn it around in terms of, in my opinion, some people will say he's had half a season in Premier League, but I don't think that squad was good enough to stay up. And I think we were saying the other night, I don't think Pep had kept us up, to be honest. The quality just was not there in the 11. And we were a broken squad because of what had gone before. And that's not necessarily throwing Eki under the bus either. I just don't think we were anywhere near the level due to fitness as well as stuff like organisation and things initially. I think Wilder should be judged on this season coming. And this is his opportunity to bring people back on board that left the Wilder train when he went the first time. And I understand why they left it. But when you reflect on Chris Wilder's time with Sheffield United, whether you agree with how he left or not, you cannot dispute what he's done for our football club, and he should never, ever have to put his hand in his pocket in the red half of Sheffield again. So I think it's a shame if he doesn't get to finish his journey with us, if you like. And I still think there's plenty more in tank. And, anyway, I'm not going to ramble on about that, but everybody knows how I feel about it. Remember in days of trying to get information years ago, we had to phone Blades line, cost of 40p a minute. Now we get it free thanks to you, Jimmy. Well done, son. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you, Action Location. That's not a bad idea, actually. Set up a Ramble hotline. Could upgrade the studio, couldn't we? Well, if you want more information and more exclusive info first and all the exclusives, then I think it's going along the bottom there, patreon.com/Blades Ramble. We're needing 7 to 8 players, Jimmy, says Simon Gregory. Yes, we are, mate. More than that, I'd say 9 or 10. Egan injury prone. I think he's had one proper spell out of the team. Mainstay behind that. Absolutely must keep, says Mark. You're right. He's not been injury prone. He's had one significant injury. And it's just whether things then start to catch up with him now. So you're right. He's not prone to injury. He's had one horrific injury. But that sometimes changes a player, particularly when they're other side of 30. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can come back to the same levels, really. Good evening, Prince Abdullah. Would you mind giving Jimmy a call? Let him know what's happening, says Bri. He's losing weight. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you, Bri. Thank you. Much appreciated, pal. I'm not expecting a call this evening. If we're needing 7+ players, Jimmy, with all of the clubs looking, how many do you think we would actually get? We'll get the number that we need. I'm conscious I don't want us to miss out on targets. But again, we don't know what level we're shopping at the minute, do we? So anything on Harrison Burrows, Jimmy? I believe that, I've heard the rumours and I think there might be something in it. Let's hope so, is probably all I'd say. But until there's a decision made, on who's going to be steering the ship, whether that's ownership or management, then there's not a lot of activity going to happen, is there? We could just do with something positive from the club. It would help the fans' nerves, says Andrew. Yeah, I know, mate, but I get that, and you're right. And one of the things that I've criticised the club for before is not sort of having the fans at the forefront of their thoughts, and it's hard to do that. So it's not a huge criticism, but we do sometimes feel like a bit of an afterthought. I think the fan advisory board has been good in terms of countering that and giving us some communication. I don't know whether, I think it's quarterly meetings or something like that they're in currently. That's probably not enough. Whether we need, I'm happy to get Bob Dyson I was speaking to, who's the chair. I was speaking to him other week at the player do, and he's happy to come on if anybody's got any questions for Bob. So just let me know what you want to see. But I think communication does need to improve with the fans. I understand that. The new setup is incredible. Thank you, Finn. Appreciate that, pal. Hope there'll be a few more awards on the wall with all the success you've earned. The new setup looks great. Thank you, Sam. That's really kind. That's really kind. We are going to go for the new Football Content Awards this year, if we can. I'll let you know about that soon to come. I think we're going to remind me in chat for Ramblers, because I know we've talked about it, but I can't remember what we've said yet. Didsy played for us, Wendy's, Forest and Derby. Well done, Keith. Well done, Keith. Statman. Never mind stat on. Statman. Yeah, there you go. There you go, Scott. John D. Yanks might be skint soon when dollar collapses. Hope they've been wise and invested heavily in gold and Nvidia. All right. Being half serious here. I know you are, pal. I know you are. Studio's missing the USA flag. It'll be up, pal. It'll be up. You had another ink kitchen this time last year. I know I did, TC. I know I did. You have to own it. When you're online, you have to own it, pal. And I'll own it, mate. Don't worry. Very professional now, says Sheila's Wheels. Heard anything about Joe Worrell interest and maybe Paddy McNair up the Ramble? Like and subscribe. Joe Worrell interest, I believe, is legit. Again, we don't know whether we're stopping or starting. He's a player that we like. Paddy McNair's also a player that we like. Paddy McNair on a free transfer for me is a straightforward one. It's a little bit like the Luke Ayling one that we didn't move quick enough on, in my opinion. Paddy McNair slots into that sort of Chris Basham mould where he can play defensive midfield, but he's probably better as a right centre-back. If we're then going to go higher level in terms of signings, he can be a somebody that supports from the bench, a squad man, if you like. If we are going for, sensible, solid championship signings, then Paddy McNair can come in and do a job for us. So I think he's one that both regimes should be looking at. In terms of Joe Worrell, Darren tweeted himself yesterday about Joe Worrell and Lewis O'Brien should be two players that we're looking at in terms of taking advantage of Forest's financial woes. We can do it on a similar deal to the Archer deal he was suggesting. And I think then Danny Hall's put an article out saying something quite similar. He's one that, my dad has been banging the drum about those two for years. So shout out to Andy the Blade. I know you're watching. Me and my dad talked about that in our original signing video. We both had them both in our team, Lewis O'Brien and Joe Worrell. So whether it's a goer or not, I don't know. But let's hope so. Let's hope there's some legs to that because there'd be huge additions. If we had money, would you take Callum O'Hare? I would snap your hand off for Callum O'Hare. Also, what's happening about Koulibaly? He needs to leave United, I think. I think he will leave, pal. I think he'll leave. Has the takeover been done, says Keeley? Not yet. Not yet. Still a few weeks away is the latest. Any news on players going out? No, Ant. Nothing on players going out just yet. The club may be a bit niffed, as he put country before club, as he went playing for Ireland after he limped off the pitch, not completing our match leading up to the international break. John Egan, I don't think they'll hold that against him. He's captain at club. I know what you're saying, though, John. There might be some merit to that, mate. Very professional, Jimmy. Thank you, Carl. Will you be getting a yellow tie for deadline day? I wore a yellow tie for deadline day this time. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that. I will be there. Didn't mean Darren hiding as he's under the stairs. What I meant was he's like, transfers, he will know news, but we'll play it down as anything can go wrong. I respect Darren. Oh, good. Thank you for clarifying that, Scott. And I thought that was the case. I know you're always asking him a lot of questions. So, yeah, sorry if I misconstrued your original comment, but Darren has to play down transfers, even if they're happening. Because in a similar boat to me, if I come on here and say, right, Joe Worrell's signing next week, I've heard, because I might have had a tip from somebody very reliable, that you never know I'm not saying people are watching this channel to get, tips on who to sign, but you never know the jungle drums that start from that. Why would Darren risk, like I keep saying, risk anything that potentially affects the future of the club by just putting it out there to, be first to say this has happened or this is going to be happening? It's much better to let someone else say it and then comment on the rumours once it's out there. And then you can say, yeah, I think there might be something to that. Or I don't think the takeover is going to happen at 6 o'clock tomorrow, yesterday night. That sort of thing. So fair play, Scott. Thanks for clarifying, mate. Danny says, in my eyes, the takeover's closer than we all think. How do we get the eyes to get the new training ground, the land around the church, and the monies to get the land. It's the Premier League money, mate. That's where we've used the finances from the Premier League. It's on the infrastructure. But you're right, it will be linked. The Prince is upping the value of the club as an asset. So it makes perfect sense. It's good for the club and it's good for the Prince in terms of the sale. So I completely agree. Prefer Martin Lawrence. Even all you Blade says, right, it's a business. Exactly that. I don't know which bit you're referring to, but it is a business. In terms, I think that might have been in response to the Prince lining his pockets by selling the club. It is a business at the end of the day. So basically, we have Plan A, new owner, and Plan B, the Prince. A good be fantastic if it comes off, but Plan B won't be disastrous. Just that we'll be shopping back in Aldi, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Harold says, Jimmy, if this American investment doesn't go through, where is the money to invest in new player, Derby or a Bolton in the lower league? I think we'll end up selling a Nell and Vinny Souza. I just think that will happen. I'm not saying there's any active interest now. I don't know if there is or there isn't, but I think that's what will happen. And I think that will sort of give us a balance in terms of it'll cover whatever debts we have, or it'll be close to covering whatever debts we've got left. And then we've definitely got a top 3 budget for the Championship. If the Prince stays, we might even have higher than that if new ownership comes in. So we will be competitive in this league. I'm not concerned about that. It's just the time element that I try not to get too bogged down with. Mate, the new HQ looks awesome, says Justin. Congrats. Thank you, pal. And it genuinely, I don't mean to be sort of, sycophantic when I say it is thanks to everybody that's watched, that's subscribed, that's tuned in, you saw my first video. If you've been on since the start, that's where I started. Anybody can do this. It's opened so many doors. That's given me the opportunity to develop sources. So it's not like I was in ITK to begin with, and that's my advantage. Anybody that just wants to come on, it's been brilliant for my mental health. I love doing it. I love coming on and jumping on and talking to you all. There's different ways that I've avoided, like getting trolled and stuff. Blocking people is brilliant on Twitter. I don't get many, to be fair, because I try not to offend anybody with what I say. I don't think I can. The one thing I do try and be is opinionated, because I can't stand that where people just sit on the fence all the time and don't give you an opinion. I think it's boring. But for me, I'm a fan like you, and I've got an opinion. And it's fine to disagree with me. Anything on McBurney, Jimmy? No. Let me just think about latest on McBurney, because I know me and Dave Leary were talking about it. I've got a feeling McBurney stays, and I don't know why. But I've just got a feeling that he's going to stay. But I keep going back and forth on it. You could ask me tomorrow, and I think he goes. But I don't know. How I feel about it. Chris Wilder, Scott Parker, and Steve Cooper all have the same experience in getting out of the Championship. There's very little between them. There's a lot between them, Sam. In terms of plain results, there might be, and that goes against the point I was making earlier, I suppose. But Scott Parker is nothing like Chris Wilder. I think Cooper and Wilder have got some similarities. Could we just ask Villa for only $6 million for Archer, then just keep him? No, it don't work like that, pal. It don't work. No, I'm not saying the deal can't be restructured. Anything is possible, but 99.9%, because it's already tied up in the contract. And the thing that you're not considering is, does Cam Archer want to come to Sheffield United in the Championship? The big thing about Cam Archer, whether you think he's a Premier League player or not, he wants to stay in the Premier League. I'm not sure he'll get the interest. I love Cam Archer. I think there's a real player in there. But he didn't pull up any trees for us, unfortunately. Surely the interested parties, both sides, are constrained by non-disclosure agreements. I would have thought so, David. And if we're not at that stage yet, then we will be close to that stage where we can't talk about the intricacies of the deal. So, yeah, we won't be far away from that. As long as Sergio What's-His-Face comes in, we should be right. Good evening, Steve. I've been stitches that yesterday. Me too, pal. Me too. An hour on stream. Defo, keep Wilder for the Championship, but if we go up, we need somebody with proper top-level experience and a proven track record. See, I know some people have a similar opinion to that, John. Look at this bloody knocking plant already. Chuffing hell. I I know some people have a similar opinion to that, but if he gets us up, you can't sack him. You can't sack him. Just turn the Ramble live on. Have I missed anything? Says Lee. I'm not going back over it, mate. You'll have to start again. As a Chris Wilder fanboy, Jimmy, you won't see anyone better. Defo better managers out there, but I can't see us as a club risking it again like we do with Slav. Give me 3, Scott. Give me 3. If there's so many managers better than Chris Wilder out there, give me 3 that's available right now that would come to Sheffield United tomorrow. How are you defining better though, Scott? Cooper has 1 championship promotion, same as Wilder. Scott Parker has 2, and many would think he's a worse option. Completely agree. Jim, do you know if the potential takeover has been given EFL approval? No, I don't, mate, as this could have been given and not announced until the bidding consortium have concluded the takeover. If I were to hazard a guess, and this is pure guesswork, Lee, one of our platinum ramblers, so thank you for your support, pal. I would say that's probably what set tongues wagging yesterday, something to do with the EFL approval. That would be my guess, and it's purely a guess. There's no insider info involved in that. I think some people have heard that it's been ratified by the EFL, obviously not yet completed. But I don't even know if we're that far along yet, because I've been told, as clearly Darren has as well, it's weeks away. Prince Abdullah is the best owner we've had since I started going in 69, says Dean. Nobody can convince me otherwise. I'm saying, mate, I agree, but I've obviously not had that amount of experience. I was only born in year 2000, so I haven't experienced that many owners. The Ramble is far more important than the battle for number 10. Thank you, Ian. Correct, finally. When am I getting in at number 10? No, that were a joke, obviously. Under Prince Abdullah, we've had 3 promotions, 2 relegations, and a few cut runs. Like most owners, got things right and wrong. Just not good. Got the cash to take us to the next level. Yeah, but we've evened out in terms of we're much higher in the totem pole than when he came in, aren't we? So I think we're in a much better spot. Any news about Bogle? We've extended his contract, William. So he's in his last year now. And there's no option at the end of it. John says, I wasn't a fan of Wilder coming back, but for the rebuild, I think we need to stick. Plus, he gets the derbies. Billy Scott says, Billy, there's managers out there, maybe an unknown, but I see Wilder staying. Other than his previous term in charge, I don't see what he's done over the last 2 years that says he's the man for the job. Well, that's the same old argument, isn't it? Bri, thank you, pal, for the super chat. Very much appreciated, pal. Would you like a copy of the photo of my profile pic with us all on it at Triple Point for the new Ramble studio wall? I've got it, mate. I've got it. I think you've sent me it before. I can't remember how I got hold of it, but yeah, send it me again anyway if you want, because it's a fantastic photo. Love it. Jimmy, are you Wilder in or out? William, I think you're trolling me there. Liam says, hope the takeover gets announced soon, Jim. I've heard it's done. And I hope we keep Wilder and we give Egan a new deal. He'll be fit for August, surely, pal. He might be, Liam, but what's he going to be like? You know, is he going to be ready? Don't know, mate. Don't know. We'll see. Do we even want to go up next season? This is unbelievable. You're getting a new studio and you still have your kids poking their head in through new. Get to bed. Unbelievable. Yes, we do want to go up, Alistair. Of course we do. Not for the enjoyment of it, because it's been miserable, hasn't it? But we need the finance. And if we're under new ownership, there's the chance to stabilise in a higher league. We've got to do it, and we've got to take the opportunity. John, well done on the studio, mate. I knew you'd do it. Would not have done it without you, pal. And thank you for pushing me, and thank you for the continued support. John, absolutely amazing coach. Action coach, Sheffield, top man. And my business coach. And yeah, he's a big reason why we're here as well. So thank you, mate. New member, Rob Pinder, thank you very much for your support, pal. If you pass on your number, then, or you'll find my number in the YouTube members page, and you can get yourself into our Ramblers group chat for that. So thank you very much, pal. Always appreciated. Simon says, hi, dude. What managers have there been free now? But I've worked under... What managers has there been free now, but I've worked under American owners? What managers are free now? Maybe Steve Cooper's out of work. Liam Rossini, I think he's talking to Burnley, but currently out of work. You could also go for some cheaper options in work, like Mark Robinson has been mentioned, who I think is a good option. There's a few out there, to be fair. Hello, first time commenting, love. Thank you very much, love. Much appreciated, and thanks for your support. Love the love the channel. Up the Ramble, please subscribe and like. Love that, Rob. Thank you, mate. Blimey, I'm late. Studio. Tickle my swinger. Oh, my word. My word, I should not have read that out. Love the channel, Jimmy, says JB. But think it's a bit clickbaity, to be honest. The takeover update, as there is no update. Okay, mate. Well, I'm sorry. I'll tell you what. It's happening tomorrow. It's happening, JB. You'll get you sent down to Bramall Lane. It's happening, mate. Apologies. Oh, next time my thumbnail will be takeover. There's no update. Please join us for a chat. The reason it's an update is because I'm telling you where we are with it, because there was so much furore on social media yesterday. Everybody's going balmy after a few emojis get spread. And I think sometimes it's just nice to let people know where we are with things. So just because it's not the update that you wanted, and then I can only apologise, pal. The most important thing, Jimmy, is you are getting some dinner now you're out of the kitchen. That's right. That's true. That's true. She's got a kitchen back. I bet it smells amazing in your new studio. Well, I've had some tips from Dave Leary, Dave the Nose Leary. So, yeah, it doesn't smell too bad in here. If Wilder stays and we sign Paddy McNair, we need to sing that chant that Burry used to sing. I don't know it, William. To be fair, you'll have to let me know. Scott, thank you for joining us, a Rambler. Same thing applies. Very much appreciated, obviously. But if you want to look on the YouTube members page now, you'll find my number and you can get yourself in our chat. Very much appreciated. Thank you to everybody that supports us. Sousa to Fulham now. Polini has gone to Bayern. Luke, that's something that me and Billy have been talking about for a long time. I'm not so sure he'll be as hot, Sousa, now as he was when we first signed him, because he's done nothing, has he? But stats ironically work in our favour with Sousa. So hopefully somebody just looks at him blind off the stats and goes for him. Are we predicting for our first game of the season? I'm saying QPR away. No idea, Alls. No idea, mate. It's pick one of 23 out of a hat, innit? If Wilder was to go, there'd be a tactical change due to play 3. Oh, would there be a tactical change due to play 3 for so many seasons? And what tactics would you prefer? I'd just like us to be a bit more. I like the 3, but I do question how far it can go in the modern game, because a lot more teams are moving to 4 at the back. I'd just like us to be a bit more fluid in our formation changes than we are currently. Make Chris Wilder director of football, then get a new manager in. Love the show, Jimmy. Thank you, Ashley. Very much appreciated. 3 at the back. Yeah, I know where you're going with it, Jamie. What's the latest on the takeover? Only just got in the live. You'll have to start from the beginning, Kaiser. I can't keep going up. But listen, ask JB. There's no update. I get a bit salty with stuff like that, because what do you want from me? What do you want? That plant behind you got a life of its own. I know, mate. I know, it's got a wriggle on it. Got a wriggle on. It's because I'm still not. I've already smacked light at one stage. I can't get my distances right. I was set in kitchen. I'll get there though. I'll get there. It's the week of the Steel City Derby. Owls fans saying how much better Roll is than Wilder. What do you think about that comparison, Jimmy? Give me Chris Wilder any day of the week. Chris Wilder any day of the week. I'm not the man to ask, really, because you know how far into the Wilder side I am. Rob, just don't give him a chance for the sake of it. The club, the fans, the business are more important than whether he gets a chance or not. He doesn't deserve it unless he's the best man for the job. I'm not saying give him a chance for the sake of it. I'm saying give him a chance because I don't think anybody can come in and do a better job immediately. Personally, and it's just my opinion. If Ollie Mack goes, I would like to see us go for Reese at Preston. Yeah, good player. I think he'd be a good replacement. But hasn't he been out for a significant period of time? So he'd probably fit right in at Sheffield United. Let's be right. Bob says if he gets you up, you can't sack him, but it's okay for Hecky. Contradictory somewhat. You can... Oh, Bob. No, what they were saying, the comment was, if we go up, we need to make a change then, because we can't have Wilder in charge in the Premier League. I'm not saying we stick with him all season. if we're bottom at league like we were with when Eki were in charge. I'm not saying so. For me, you've got to initially, if he's the man to get us up, you've got to at least give him a go in the Premier League. You can't say thanks very much. Here's your marching papers. Playing catch up, just woke up. One of our platinum ramblers. Thank you, Dave. Cooper, Racina, and Parker are better than Wilder. Terrible shout. You can't include Scott Parker on that list. Racinia's not been doing it long enough. Cooper is probably on a par. But with Blades, it'll be Monk, Big Sam, and Pardew. Anyone would be a good replacement for McBurney, says Bob. Born in 2000. All right, or maybe stretching it slightly. What's your thoughts on Lowe to the grunt merchants, mate? I'm all for it. Fair play to him. My first time here too. Oh, well, welcome, mate. You're more than welcome. Thank you for joining us. Shaz Back Designs. Love the new setup. Hope you're using the BR personalised key ring to lock it up. Yes, I am, Shaz. Shaz got me this. This was a gift from Shazbat. If you can all see that. I know focus is messed up now. So there you go. Bit of advertising for you there, Shazbat. Thank you very much. Whatever happens with the takeover, I want to thank Prince Abdullah for what he's done. This is one of the best we've had. Well said. Thank you. I agree. Looking over your shoulder, has the new studio been infiltrated by a club plant? I've got Club's old fax machine down here as well. Prince Abdullah's done a great job with the ownership. He's pulled all the infrastructure in the direction that has been promised for years prior. Prince has done a lot for the club, says Renegade. I agree, pal. I agree. You need to change that name. Thanks for coming on and settling some fans down and giving a bit of clarity regarding the timeline for the takeover. Looking forward to your next transfer videos. Me too, Renegade. Thank you, pal. That's a very kind comment. But I'm, I love talking about transfers. It's my thing, really. But I've not had a chance because of everything we're trying to keep up with everything that's ongoing. A few more ramblers, then I'll be in Greece with Baldock doing videos. Maybe so. First time watching the live. Have I missed out? Up the Blades, up the Ramble. You're all coming in late. Have you been watching Rishi? Is that what's been happening? Looking good, pal. Up the Ramble. Top man. Cheers, Liam. How are the season ticket sales going? Up the Ramble, up the Blades. LLB. I don't know, mate, in terms of ticket sales. I'm not entirely sure how they've been going. What's your predictions for where we come? I think we're definitely coming top 6. That's my early prediction without any signings. We'll do some proper predictions when we've got a bit more of an idea of what we're going to be doing or what we're going to look like as a squad. It'll be sausage roll when we do them twice next season, says John. Are you sure that plant's not real, Jimmy? It's doing some moving about. I know it's because I keep banging into it, mate. The PE teacher up the road's done note, but I believe he's dead good at putting out the cones. S6 doing what they did in our Champions League, in our Champions season. How did that work out for him? Love you, Jimmy. Thanks, Cam. Anyone talked about Lowe to Wednesday? Yeah, it fits in with all his injuries. Watch out for the sprinklers, Max. Yes, we've mentioned it, mate. Jimmy, when do the players return to training? Because it will look very strange just now. I think we've got 2-3 weeks before they come back. End of June, I think it is, but I might be wrong with that. I've not heard official date yet. Last one for tonight is Cole. Good evening, mate. Hope you're well. Feel like this takeover is going to be really good or really bad. Let's hope we can keep our club and not end up in debts galore and an owner who doesn't give a monkey's about the club and fans. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you, everybody, for all your support tonight, for coming along and joining me. Apologies if you feel like it's not been what you wanted to hear, but it's an update on where we are. So as soon as there is anything to move on, there will be more rambles to come. I'm going to try, if we have a quiet day or two, to get some news out on my transfer selections and who I'd want to bring in, freeze, sensible signings and ideal signings like we did for the goalkeepers. So keep it Ramble for that. Right now, I'm going to go and make sure these girls are in bed because they keep popping their head round and then Mum will kill me if she's gone out, if they find out that they're out of bed. So I'm going to sort them out and then I'm jumping onto the Jimmy Ramble channel straight after this at 9 o'clock. I'm joined by Dave the Nose Leary, Paul Man Mountain and Muscles Marsden for some England chat if that's up your street. So join us over there. If you'd like and subscribe, that would be very much appreciated. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Up the Blades!